Welcome back to Board Games Christians Can Play. Today I am featuring a very beloved game called the Great Western Trail. And as you can tell by its name, it's all about cowboys and cows, and I would say the Southwest. It's got desert landscape and rocks and hazards that you have to go through. So it's you're managing your herd of cows all the way to Kansas City, and your own personal herd of cows are in this deck of cards. So each player at the beginning of the game gets 4 cows in their hand. It varies as to if you're the first player or the second player, but ultimately you have to discard and start off with 4 cows. And as you travel along, you will be selling cows and getting cows. And anyways, I'll explain it to you from the beginning here. I have it set up for a 2-player game. We have our own personal board, and on this board there's lots of actions that you can do. However, you uncover them by placing your discs out onto the main board. So this first one, you get money. The second one is you can draw 2 cards or 1 card right now because it's not uncovered, but if you had it uncovered, then you could draw 2 actions. Draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards from your hand. So in other words, increase the value of your herd, hopefully, as you get through your private cows here. This one is pay a coin to move your train back, but then you get to put your certificate down. And this one is pay a coin to move your train up the track, get a coin when you move your train back, and you get to discard a cow, an undesirable cow from your herd. So these are great. This one is, if you remove this disc, you get 3 monies. This one is 3 victory points at the end of the game. This tells you how much you have to pay for the hazards that you go across. A green hand and a black hand. They're on the hazard tiles and on the outlaw tiles. So if you have to go over them, then you have to pay money to the bank or to the person that owns them. This one is increase your hand limit to by 1 card. But you have to pay 5 coins to do that, and you can do that twice. So you could have a cattle herd of 6 cows, which is very valuable. These ones are certificates, which count essentially as money when you get to Kansas City. Each round consists of the person making their way to Kansas City. So certificates are very valuable at the end of the turn in case you need to up the value of your cows in order to make it to a certain city. So everybody starts with 1 objective card. This one is I have to have 2 train stations with tokens on them and an outlaw tile, and then I would get 3 victory points. But you can also get objectives along the way, and whenever you get them, you put them into your own cow deck, and then when you draw randomly, you can decide whether you want to place them if you would like to work on those objectives or not. This one is you need to get to New York City. If you do, you get 5 victory points, but it is quite difficult to get to New York City, so you might not want that one. This is your bank. These are exchange tokens, and then 1 value coin and 5 value coin. This is the job market, and this is the job market token. Whenever you get to Kansas City, you have to first remove 1 hazard tile, and then bump the job market token down, and then choose one of these workers to put in there, and then you can choose one of these workers to put in there. So we got a builder, a cowboy, and an engineer. The engineer helps you move your train faster along the track. The cowboy helps you buy more cows, and the builder helps you place out buildings onto the board. All of these are very valuable people to have. You just have to figure out which strategy you're going for, because money is quite scarce in this game. You have to manage your money well, I should say. Let's say we're going to start the game now. So I get to put my cowboy wherever I want. These are called neutral building tiles. And so at the beginning of the very beginning of the game, you can put it wherever you want. So I'm going to put mine here, where it says I can put my certificate marker down, 1, and then I can move my train forward as many engineers as I have. We all start with the same amount of hired workers, so everybody has an engineer, a builder, and a cowboy. So I get to move my train up 1. Like I said, this is a 2-player board, and so we get to move our cowboy up to 3 spaces if we want, 1 to 3. So we move our way up to Kansas City, doing the actions on these neutral building tiles, and then we get to Kansas City eventually. So like I did, we put our job people down into the job market, and then we reveal our hand. So let's reveal my hand. I have a Piney Woods, a Galloway, and 2 Criollos. You can only have 1 of each breed in order to count. So I have to take 1 Criollo away. So my value is 5 cows. So St. Louis requires 4 cows and Bloomington requires 6 cows. I have 5. I'm going to use my certificate to bump it up to Bloomington. And then I would take a disc and put it there. Now, because my train is only on slot 1, there's these 1, 2, 3 X's to get to Bloomington. So I have to pay $3, 3 coins. I get 6 coins, but I have to pay 3 coins to go there. So I may want to just do St. Louis, and then I would have to only pay 1 coin. I get $4 and pay 1 coin. So that's what you have to figure out through the game, how you can maximize your money. So you cash out your cows, and then you pay your transport fee, and then you move your cowboy back to the beginning of the game. Along the way, you can play out your own building tiles. Now, these are beneficial to you and you only. No other player can use these tiles. If they happen to have to land on your tile, they get to do 1 auxiliary action and that's it. They're not allowed to take advantage of the actions on my tile. So this one is remove 1 Galloway and get 4 coins, and I can buy some cattle. So that's a very good tile to have. Now all these buildings that you accumulate on the board, they have victory points. So this one is 1 if you happen to play with that one. This one is 5 victory points, but you have to have 4 workers on your board in order to play this one. But you keep in mind victory points, always victory points. Now at the station master, you can give up, let's say I hired this worker, this builder. Let's say my train, I want to detour in here, and I would have to give up 1 of my workers to become the station master. But then I get to take this tile that is there, and there are advantages. I can immediately lower my certificate too, and then each building that I place out gets me 2 victory points. So that helps with endgame scoring. So you have to decide whether you want to sacrifice 1 of your hard-earned workers that you had to pay money for. The cost of the worker is on beside this row. That's how much you can pay for the worker. So you have to decide if that money's worth it. And then you also have to pay money to go here. So you pay $2, but you also get a victory point at the end of the game, and you get to put your disc there. So another way to get a victory point and to get a little advantage in the game if you're willing to sacrifice a worker. Once the game is triggered, every time somebody goes to Kansas City, this job market token usually gets bumped down. unless it's hazard tiles that are placed out. And I myself try and avoid it. I will place all hazard tiles that I can before workers because I like the game to last longer. But whenever it goes past a yellow marker, then you refresh the cattle market. And this is the cattle market here. This is the stockyard full of great cows. And these are the cows that are available to be bought. So we got Black Angus, and then the Longhorn, and then the Corriente, Shorthorn, and Hereford. Herefords are very valuable, but you have to have at least 2 cowboys in order to buy a Hereford. And these are kind of expensive, but they're good for your shipping to get to higher valued towns. So you gotta buy cows in the game. Now, once the token makes its way down the board and is triggered to fall off the end of the board, that triggers the end of the game. That person ends their turn, and then everybody else finishes out the round, and then that's it. And then you count up all your victory points. Each cow has victory points at the bottom. So you want to buy higher victory pointed cows if you can. And on your board is victory points. If you happen to fill up all your workers, then the row gets 4 points, 4 victory points each. And where your train is at on the board gets victory points. So it's all just very puzzling, excellent, fun, strategic game. Oh, I don't think I mentioned these are discard tokens. You can use this anytime. Everybody starts with one of them, and you can accumulate them along the way. But you can get rid of it and then draw 2 cards from your deck and then discard 2 cards from your deck that you don't like. So these Criollos, there's so many Criollos. So you try and get them out of your hand because they're not worth very much. And then you get better ones. Santa Gertrudis, Galloway, Piney Woods. These are good cows to have. Let's say I have my building tile here and I wanted to get to my building tile. I would have to go over these water hazards in order to get there. So I would have to pay 4 coin to get to my building tile. So you have to be strategic in where you place your buildings. But this one has bonuses, more advantages. So you can remove any card and then lower your certificate 1. So you're allowed to buy these hazard tiles throughout the game. So there might be some strategy in getting them removed. But it is kind of expensive. It usually costs 7 coin to remove hazard tiles. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that you move 3 spaces. So let's say I was here. 1, 2, 3. These count as spaces. Anything that has a tile or a building on it counts as spaces. And there's usually 2 routes to get to a place. So you have to figure out which route you want to go and take advantage of that route. So I hope that gives you a little overview on how to play and the strategy, and you'll just have to get the game. I wish I could play it with you. I just love playing it so much. It is it speaks to me because my father was a rancher and we had 100 cows, which isn't huge, but for a 25-acre farm, it was very huge. We had to farm them out to other pastures. But anyways, I remember growing up having to ship cows off to the market often. So this brings back great nostalgic memories. And the ultimate goal is to get to New York City because you get the most points there. That's the most prestigious. This game reminds me a lot of Abraham when God called him out and to have him go to the land of Canaan, the promised land. He had great herds that he had to take with him and many hazards along the way, but God was with him and he ultimately made it to the promised land. And we ultimately make it to Kansas City, and then God gets us to New York City, which is the creme de la creme. So it reminds me of Abraham. And so for that reason, I give this game a 2 fish rating. I just love it. I can't play it enough. It's got such neat strategy from various sources, and money management and hand management. If you would like to see an actual playthrough of the game with my friend Kaylin and I, there's nothing better than to learn a game by watching somebody play it, or play it yourself, of course. But if you would like to see a playthrough, then please click here. Thank you for watching. May your games bring you joy and God blessings upon you.